Greetings, fellow Southern Cameroonians. Today, na Wednesday, number 19 day for this month of February 2025. This one a special edition of our podcast. It be meant for address and also for inform our people about the proposition of the APLM. Now that Dr. Akwanga, a group will be formerly known as the Youth League, LCYL, Southern Cameroon Youth League for Soccer-Def, where they then transform and they call another APLM. Ebenezer Akwanga, he then put out a proposition, that means his own solution and his own roadmap for the fight and for independence. It be very important because since this struggle start, all man, they rely on, say, the declaration which the could be making for independence, they go fight for recognition without any specific roadmap for achieve that goal. So we'll be very happy to see them put out this your own position. We hope say other groups then too, they could put on their position, whether you did for independence or not. It not be just a matter of slogan, but every organization need to be responsible for articulate which way they go achieve them and how they want to achieve them. Even political party then delegate force for put their manifesto. So liberation struggle need for be in the same manner. Before we go into the address for this Ebenezer Akwanga proposition, we want to first take a moment for salute our people and for Bali, where this big fire it done come out for this night, destroy the whole commercial area for Tanfuang. Now some place for Bali where be famous for our history for Southern Cameroon, when at the birthplace for Presbyterian Church. The fire it done burn on the step the whole night. People their shop they don't be destroyed, they be helpless. The destruction will be in the millions them. If we be organized, all man for the focus for help the victim them. We pray say if we can get our own autonomy before independence, every village go get its own fire brigade the way they train them. They go get a network of interconnecting fire brigade the way they fit intervene. We no fit expect say francophone they go they do fire brigade work for our territory. They no go get the motivation and they no go get that commitment for take risk for fight such incident like this one. The other thing we want to inform our public, now say we be done get indication say they don't give the die body for Commander JC for ADF made them bury him, suited and bury him. It happens say it be been in the same case the soldier the way they be tell you about this stuff, they not be available. Secondly, would I write a letter for the International Red Cross for Bamenda for public interest for request me the help intervene for JC so that make JC he get lawyer, make him get treatment, me them put for place they no go summarily execute he, following evidence will see him based on a picture where in order be in circulation of JC where show say he be alive. But we don't put that one also in question now. Why? Two things there. Cameroon government it don't inform international journalism for Yaoundé officially say JC the general for ADF they don't kill he be die for that action. So now the official position that for the Cameroon government. Why would he get mixed information say he still be alive? So we'll get for this one next time because now this episode it be specific for focus on this Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga a document. We want to just inform our people about those things in person. We will get for that one detailedly. One thing it be for sure, the incident for General JC, now a big decapitation for an oppressive regime, a tyrannic regime of Ayabacho, where they don't cause a lot of death. Taxi driver, the way they don't kill them for impose and impractical policy. The one way they kidnap them every day for so-called liberation tax. The one way they be summarily execute them for Gozang and Nancho, then deserve exactly which way they get them. But as human beings, as clean as we are, we will always campaign for human rights, even for those who are enemies of our people, so long as the hands of justice will play out. So fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow Anglophones, may we go straight for our presentation concerning the address of Ebenezer Akwanga, a proposition we don't put them. So I will read the note because the proposition will be very long. I will give a summary. Now the summary, this will put them. Summary of Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga proposition. Dr. Akwanga argues that La République du Cameroon will not negotiate meaningfully unless forced by battlefield realities. So Akwanga the talk na say Cameroon no fit can negotiate true with good faith if we no force them na true battlefield for war front. His position is that diplomatic effort without military leverage are ineffective, as La République believe it can win through attrition. For Pidgin, it talk say we no fit win for diplomacy if we no get strong army where they fight already for ground. Because La République them believe say they go win we by killing us, so they drag the thing that may be very long. He proposed a ferocious and robust counter-military strategy to shift the balance of power and force a comprehensive peace settlement that addresses the root causes of the conflict. That means Akwanga the propose say make we arrange our fighting for ground fine, make a counter-attack for the way they suffer for battlefield now, so that if we change the power dynamic, because now it is like La République they get higher power for ground, so that if he force them, they come and negotiate about the root causes them. There are 4 key points that we have summarized in his document, his proposition. I will read them and translate them in Pidgin. Number 1, negotiation through strength. He asserts that history shows oppressive regimes only negotiate when forced by military pressure. Without a strong counter-military effort, Cameroon will continue half-hearted dialogue while maintaining occupation. So he talks say for history, regime the way they need to respect law, like the one dictator them who they under so for La République, they only negotiate when they force them through power, through military campaign or through violence. So if we not do some counter-military operation them, Cameroon will continue for the pretend say they do dialogue, they do half thing them. Number 2, breaking the illusion of victory. La République believe it can outlast Ambazonian resistance. A coordinated military strategy is necessary to shatter this illusion and force a reassessment of their stance. So he talk say Cameroon believe say them fit stay sute as time they go, time they for their side, but we need for coordinate some good attack them. We be good for make Cameroon no still believe this thing where they believe them. Number 3, international perception. A strong resistance will attract global attention, increase pressure on external actors to intervene. So he talks say if we fight fine for ground, we make a place that the hot will attack for La République, it go make and the international community go look where they happen and they go feel intervene, the can stand for middle. Number 4, forcing a full settlement. Previous talks have ignored Ambazonian sovereignty. A military response will ensure that negotiation addresses the full scope of grievances. So he talk say all the negotiation, the way that happen, there will not be the talk about Ambazonia, their sovereignty. But if we use power, it will make a meeting discuss about sovereignty issue them. Let me say independence issue them directly. Now, we will go now for analyze which way Benezaran talk am for put them in context. We will do them for English and we will try for translate them also for Pidgin. The title we will put them for prep for this response na why Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga strategy is doomed to fail and will accelerate Ambazonian total defeat. Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga called for ferocious and robust counter-military strategy. It sounds good in theory, but in reality, it is an approach that will torpedo any chance of negotiation and push Ambazonia into an inevitable defeat. So talk say this is a strategy where talk say will reorganize defense again, fight very well. Now thing we find for hear them when you write them it fine, but in reality, nothing we could destroy any chance for negotiation would see them as it come now so. And it will make we instead go to a place where they could defeat we into a total loss scenario. Let us continue. His strategy ignores the internal collapse of Ambazonian military resistance, the international shift away from armed struggle, and the total lack of condition necessary for military victory. Worse, it plays directly into the Cameroon strategy of waiting out the resistance while discrediting Ambazonia internationally. That means say, it forgetful no say our coordination for our defense for ground they are already collapsed. Before we get different group they come up every day, different alliances they form every day. For the past close to 2 years, this one they never happened. It shows say our defenses they don't collapse to ground zero. The organization and coordination they don't collapse. Number two, international community they need to see support any arms resistance for as change for any country. Number three, the condition then will we enable we forget military victory no day. Number one be now the lack of collaboration again from our community and the backlash where Ambazonian forces that get them for our community. We'll take the point them one by one. Number one, the internal breakdown of Ambazonian armed resistance. In 2018 to 2019, Ambazonian resistance reached its peak, with international media covering the conflict, global human rights organizations raising concern, and Cameroon suffering heavy military and diplomatic setback. However, since then, the struggle have been derailed by corruption, infighting, and a failure to unify the various factions. That means say from 2018 to 2019, now the time that way the struggle it be really strong. All international media they be cover and they talk with the way it happen. Human rights organization they be put pressure for Cameroon. By that time it don't come, it pass where was struggle. It can be affected by corruption, infighting, and the failure to unify all the factions them. Let's continue. Factionalism and leadership rivalry. The Ambazonian armed struggle has been plagued with disunity, with major groups like Ambazonian Defense Forces, Red Dragons, Sokadef, TTL often fighting amongst themselves rather than focusing on a common Cameroon army. Corruption and resource mismanagement. Many leaders of the various factions have misused money meant for fighters on the ground, leading to dissolutions and desertion amongst the ranks of Ambazonian fighters. The atrocities against our civilians. The early sympathy Ambazonia enjoy from the international community has largely been lost due to kidnapping for ransom, attack against civilians, and human rights abuses by Rook fighters. These internal weaknesses make a sustained military campaign impossible. Unlike other successful armed struggle, Ambazonian forces are not unified under a single command, making coordination operation unrealistic. This one it talk say we'll get plenty armed group the way they be the focus now for fight against each other. Time where the struggle will be strong. Like ADF fighting Sokadef, Sokadef fighting ADF, fighting TTA and the various groups with Red Dragon also fighting other groups. And you get also corruption like My Trip to Boya and many other group the way they don't thief money for the way make and plenty soldiers they don't lost their way, then lose hope and some more, so one they don't leave fighting. He also talks the atrocity where they don't commit them against our own people them. It don't make them our forces they not get the environment where they feel carry out good military campaign like guerrilla tactics where you go need cooperation from the population. He also talks the breakdown of coordination amongst group them and the lack of leadership, coordinated leadership, it make them unrealistic for carry out any successful military campaign where Bamenda Akwanga it talk about them. Number two, the military tide has turned against Ambazonia. The situation on the ground has changed significantly since the early years of the war. Back in 2017 to 2019, Ambazonian fighters operate with greater freedom and could inflict serious damage. Today, this reality are different. Cameroon has adapted itself. The Biya regime have strengthened its military tactics, reinforced its presence in key areas, and create local militias that have weakened Ambazonian forces. Ambazonian resistance is weaker than ever. Most of the strongholds that were once under separatist control have either fallen or been neutralized. The one that talks to the Cameroon government, they don't learn their lesson, they don't adjust the way they operate for ground. The time will wipe them plenty, it don't pass. Now they don't buy armored car, they don't adjust themselves way They need to die like how they be die when the struggle will be just start between 2017 to 2019. And plenty places where Ambazonia and they be control them during that time, they are already lost them all by now. Right now, we're getting only one place for Bui. We feel really call them a liberated area for the whole Ambazonia. Before we get at least 6 or 8 places for Fikolam say they will be under Ambazonia control. Our fight at the ground then be more disorganized now than they can ever be. The next point now, Cameroon is winning the attrition war. Biya does not need to win battles. He only needs to wait for the resistance to collapse from internal weakness. Akwanga call for renewed military escalation will only prolong the conflict without achieving any significant victory. That means say the way we would fight each other for inside Ambazonia, Paul Biya just need for Shidong the waiting and wait. So the thing where Akwanga the talk or reorganize ourselves, we never address all those issues them. Nothing we only make me the war long now for long. Number 3, the international community has moved on. Ebenezer Akwanga argues ignores a critical reality. The war has lost interest in Ambazonia armed struggle. When the conflict first broke out, there was significant international sympathy. However, the following factors have shifted global opinion. Armed struggles are increasingly rejected by the international community. The international community, especially the United States and the European Union, no longer support armed secessionist movement globally. The days when armed groups could gain independence through guerrilla warfare are over. The world actually regrets their support for independence for the Southern Sudan. Diplomatic isolation of Ambazonia. No country have recognized Ambazonia. Nor have any country recognized the declaration made by Ayok Tabi. The same international actors that once called for dialogue have reduced their involvement due to internal Ambazonian division and violence against our civilians by our own forces. Cameroon's narrative of winning have also played a part. The Paul Biya regime has successfully painted Ambazonian fighters as criminals and terrorists, and the fighters have not helped themselves in this regard. Ebenezer Akwanga's call for more military action will only reinforce this perception and further alienate the international actors who sees Ambazonian fighters as people who attack their own communities and Ambazonian organization as not representing the interests of the Ambazonian people. So escalation will be counterproductive to diplomatic effort. Number 4, Akwanga's strategy will eliminate any will for Cameroon to negotiate. One of the most dangerous flaws in Ebenezer Akwanga's approach is that it would destroy any incentive that the Cameroon government currently have to negotiate. His theory is that Cameroon will negotiate only when pressure is put militarily. But this is the complete misreading of Cameroon's current strategy. Here is why. Paul Biya is playing a long game. Cameroon does not feel any urgency to negotiate because it believes time is on its side. The government knows that the Ambazonian fighters are now weak. Today, more than any times within the past 5 years. So it has no reason to negotiate now, let alone under military pressure. Akwanga's strategy strengthens the hardliners in Yaoundé who do not want negotiation and see negotiation as appeasement to separatists. If Ambazonian forces escalate attacks, Paul Biya's government will use their attacks as an excuse to refuse further negotiation engagement and justify even a harsher military measure against our people. Cameroon can easily ignore the conflict. Unlike conflicts where rebels control significant territories, for example in the Southern Sudan, before their independence, Ambazonia does not have a stable liberated zone that they can call a zone under their control that can even be capable of preventing the passage of Cameroon military personnel. This means that Cameroon can continue its military operation while simply ignoring any call for dialogue. By calling for a renewed armed resistance at this time when Ambazonia is in its weakest, Akwanga is helping Cameroon to avoid meaningful negotiation. Number 5. The Sri Lanka Tigers scenario, a warning for all Ambazonians. Akwanga's approach is leading Ambazonia down the path of the Tamil Tigers in Sri Lanka, which ended in total defeat, total loss scenario for them. The Tamil Tigers fought a brutal secessionist war against Sri Lanka's government for decades, but they relied too much on military power. Like Ebenezer Akwanga, the Tamil Tigers believed that only military strength would force political solution. They became isolated. The international community abandoned them after they committed atrocities, just like how Ambazonian fighters have lost global sympathy today. Sri Lanka army wiped them out. In 2009, Sri Lanka launched a final military offensive that completely crushed the Tamil Tigers, ending their struggle permanently. If Ambazonia follows Ebenezer Akwanga's path, it will face the same fate of total defeat, no negotiation, and destruction of any hope of self-determination, just like the Tamil Tigers of Sri Lanka. Now, the PRAP proposition of the Peace Plan Paper, PPP. It is the only path to survival. Unlike Ebenezer Akwanga's military fantasy, PRAP Peace Plan Paper strategy is the only realistic way to prevent total defeat and revive international support. Diplomacy is the only option left for us. The military struggle is no longer viable, and the only way forward is through moral appeal, political advocacy, and diplomatic engagement. Peace Plan Paper can end Ambazonian isolation by pushing for a peaceful settlement through international partners. PRAP is working to bring back global attention and pressure to Cameroon diplomatically. Akwanga's plan will kill the Peace Plan Paper's momentum that is already gathering in the United Nations. If Akwanga's strategy gains traction, it will destroy the Peace Plan Paper initiative and reinforces Cameroon's claim that Ambazonia are all for violence and they are all extremists. In conclusion, Ebenezer Akwanga's plan is a suicidal mission. Akwanga's call for war is not just unrealistic, it is suicidal. Ambazonia have already wasted the peak of their resistance through infighting, corruption, and military excesses. The international community have moved on, and Cameroon is patiently waiting for the struggle to die to zero. If Ambazonia reject diplomatic and pursue the military option of Ebenezer Akwanga, they will enter into a total loss scenario and will lose everything, just like the Tamil Tiger lost in Sri Lanka. The only way forward is through PRAP's Peace Plan Paper, which offer a diplomatic lifeline before Ambazonia is completely forgotten and wiped off the map. That is the end of that analysis. We will continue to push the diplomatic engagement. We have made huge and substantial progress, which we will deliver to our people subsequently. God bless you. Have a good day wherever you are. Capo Daniel signing out.